iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Show. FullTimeFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Full-Time Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Guys, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, let's take a look at some fantasy news and notes for us today. Melvin Gordon, some writer from ESPN says, expect Melvin Gordon to end his holdout in time for week 1. Now, I did a video on this just before. I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't know how I feel about that. Will he end his holdout? I don't know. Let's assume he doesn't. All right? If he doesn't, it's bad reporting. Let's say he does. They're going to pay him. But what about Austin Eckler? What about Justin Jackson? I don't know. What about Gordon not being in game shape? What about Gordon maybe being more injury prone because he's missed training camp? I don't know. I go back to the whole feeling lucky, because if you do, you take them. But I don't know if I do this year. I guess now that this report came out, he might go back in round 2 again. I'm just not going to take him in round 2. It's not that he's not a good player. I love Melvin Gordon. I do. I love him. I love him as a player. I just don't feel great about it. I like to make picks that I feel great about. Right? Where I'm like, yeah, I feel good about that guy. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I just don't feel that way about Melvin Gordon. And because of that, I can't draft him. I will draft Eckler. I do like Eckler. I will draft Justin Jackson late. Very late. But I think this drops Justin Jackson a bit, because if everybody thinks that Melvin Gordon's back, then Justin Jackson's not as good as he was. Okay? There's a report out of another report that maybe Clowney could get traded, Jadeveon Clowney could be traded to the Miami Dolphins for Kenyon Drake and Kenny Stills. I think people just come up with ideas. We don't know this for sure. I don't even know if that's a great team, if it's a great trade. Do I really, if I'm the Texans, that's what I want? I want Kenny Stills and Kenyon Drake? Don't I already have Kenyon Drake in Duke Johnson? Don't I really need a big back who can be a big bruising back who's good at short yardage? Isn't that what I really want? And Kenny Stills, if I've got Fuller and Hopkins and QT, did I wake up this morning and want Kenny Stills? So just watch these reports carefully. You got to be able to trust these reports, and I don't know if I do. All right? Here's another report. Washington wants to deal Josh Doctson. Well, I bet they do, because he sucks. Now, he didn't suck in college. I actually liked him. And I thought he could have been a good pro. He just is on the wrong team with bad quarterbacks. And he's got to be cut, or he's going to be traded. Now, look, if I'm the New York Giants, I'm picking Josh Doctson up in 2 seconds. Now, why isn't anybody... I want to give you an idea, okay? Who does Doctson play for? The Washington Redskins, right? If I'm the Giants, I pick up Doctson, I pay the dude a little money, I make him my 5th receiver, and I bring him into the room with the film study, and I say, spill your guts about the Redskins defense. What do they want to do? What do they like doing? Tell us what they're going to do. How are they going to play us? Intel. Why wouldn't you get intel? Does that make any sense to anybody? So I think he's worth it for that. I mean, how much is he's not that good? Pay him a couple bucks and get some intel. That's worth it to me. See, Giants don't think like that. I think like that. That's why I win fantasy leagues. Dave Gettleman doesn't think like that. That's why he's a train wreck half the time. All right, Jerick McKinnon, big problems. Please don't draft him. I think we're looking at Matt Breida and, of course, Tevin Coleman. And now the 49ers look like geniuses for bringing Coleman in because McKinnon may never play for them. I mean, it's very sad. He may never play for them. Right? So, all right. In San Francisco, there are a couple of receivers there that are not doing very well. Basically, Jalen Hurd, who is a very big slot receiver, okay, and Trent Taylor, two guys who are very questionable for week one. So who are we looking at? Dante Pettis, Marquise Goodwin, Jordan Matthews, Deebo Samuel. But remember, Dante Pettis also has a groin issue, and that is an issue, right? The groin is an issue. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a very much of a running team early on. I don't like Jordan Matthews very much. Maybe Deebo Samuel does something, but he's a rookie. I don't know if I trust him. I don't know if I trust it very early. All right. Here's a nugget for you. Okay? Here's a nugget. The Pewter Report says Dare Ogunbowale is going to be the third down back for the Buccaneers. I agree with that. I do. I said it before. I said it on the radio show with Ronis. He's been their best overall running back. Peyton Barber doesn't suck, but he's not great. Ronald Jones sucks, and he can't pass protect, and he can't catch. So where's the pathway for Ronald Jones to play? I think, are they going to split first and second down? I think I'm playing Peyton Barber. That's what I'm doing. And then Ronald Jones just gets in if there's an injury. But I think Ogunbowale, this guy is legit. He is legit. And if I'm drafting maybe around 15, 16, he's on my radar. You know, if you need a 6 running back, sure, there's worse guys. Now, is he going to get a lot of carries? Probably not. Is he going to get a lot of catches? Probably not. What are we looking at? 3 for 30 for 6 points? But look, sometime in round 13, right, 6 points is actually good. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds crazy because we're like, well, I don't want that. But, you know, when guys are putting up 2 points a week, 6 points is actually pretty good. And what if he goes 5 for 50? You just got 10. So I think you want to start guys, I would think in the last bunch of rounds, right? The last 7, 8 picks. If I can find a guy who's a 10-point player. So think of it this way. Early in the draft, I want 20-point players. In the middle of the draft, I want 15-point players. In the bottom of my draft, I want 10-point players. Now, am I going to get all that? Absolutely not. Of course not. But I want to see if I can get that. I want the upside there, right? Ogunbowale, probably worth 8 to 10 points, which in round 15 or 16, how many guys are going to do that, right? And more importantly, how many guys are going to do that consistently? See, that's the problem in those rounds. Could Danny Amendola do it? Sure. Maybe 3 or 4 times, but not 16. So I think Amendola is a good pick at the end of the draft because he could get 10 points. But then again, somebody he can get 2. So you have to be lucky enough and smart enough to play them on the right weeks. If you do that, you'll be successful. So I'm going to tell a story, and I don't know if this is the right place for it, but it feels like the right place. So maybe this is you, and this is why I'm telling the story, okay? Now, one of my best friends loves fantasy football. I've known this guy for a very, very long time. I think we're talking about 25 years now. It sounds about maybe even more, maybe even 28 years, something like that. He knows what I do for a living. Right? He knows that I'm a full-time fantasy sports analyst. And he does a couple of home leagues. And I always try to give him advice. And every year, he never takes it. And I don't understand why. I basically tell him, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this guy. And I guarantee you he doesn't take any of the guys listed. So today I gave him a guy, I said, I really like this guy. He goes, I hate him. I said, I'm telling you, take him. And of course, I know he won't. I know he won't. Okay? I guarantee you he won't. See, this guy, who's one of the nicest guys in the world, I told you, one of my closest friends, he's going to take Mohamed Sanu, right? He takes Deshaun Jackson. He takes, Larry Fitzgerald. Guys who were good 6 years ago. He doesn't take a guy who there's no pathway for, right? If I give him a guy without pathway, he's not taking him. I say take Anthony Miller. Oh, but there's Tariq Cohen, there's Allen Robinson. Okay, I told you Anthony Miller. Don't forget I said that, right? And then all of a sudden Christmas, and then I say, did I tell you Anthony Miller? And he's like, there's no answer, right? And then I go to myself, why didn't you just listen to me in the first place? So here's the bigger story. If you listen to this podcast, which I hope you do, and if you subscribe to our site, which I hope you do, and if you read sportsillustrated.com/fantasy, which I hope you do, please take our advice. We're not always right. We're not. But we're right more than we're not. And we love what we do. And we do a really good job of it. And more importantly, we want you to be successful. Right? I want you to win your leagues. I do, from the bottom of my heart. Your success is so important to me. So if we have players we like, we're giving them to you because we want you to have these players. We want you to draft them, like Anthony Miller, right? For example, should have a great year. Guy's a good player who's not healthy last year. Mitch Trubisky's going to be better. The team is really good. Why don't you want this guy? So when we give you players that we like, me, Ronas, Sean, Frankie, Bill Enright, Jim Day, when we give you these guys, take them. Take them. Now, there's a problem with that. Just because I tell you to take a guy doesn't mean I want you to overreact and drop somebody else. So if I say get Anthony Miller, I don't want you dropping Chris Godwin for him. We have to have reason, right? Do I like Anthony Miller? Of course I like Anthony Miller, but I like Chris Godwin more, right? I like Chris Godwin much more. So just because we like guys means one of two things. If you can roster them, great. If you have Devin Funchess, I'm cutting him and picking up Anthony Miller, done, right? If I have Quincy Enunwa, I'm dropping and picking up Anthony Miller, done. But I'm not dropping Robbie Anderson for him. I'm not dropping Mike Williams for him. I'm not dropping Tyler Boyd for him. Put him on your list. Get a sheet of paper. Put down a list. Doc's guys. Put down Anthony Miller. And then maybe make a trade for him. Maybe he gets dropped. I don't know. You put him on your radar. He's on your radar. If you can't put him on your team, put him on your radar. That way, if he becomes available, you get him. Right? It's not a mandate. I'm not giving you a mandate. Get this guy. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way in fantasy sports. I'm giving you a mandate. I like this guy. Try to get him if you can. If not, put him on your watch list. Right? If you can do that, you will be successful. If you ask questions in the forums, you will be successful. Let us help you win your leagues. Once again, football is a very tough game to win. It's very tough. Why not get as much assistance as you possibly can? That's what I'd want, as much assistance as I possibly could get. So with that in mind, si.com/fantasy. That's one place you're going. And fulltimefantasy.com, enter the promo code ROTO50 for 50% off your first 2 months. Now, look, guys, if you're still with me, tonight, beat Dr. Roto. You go to playffwc.com, and there's a draft at 10 p.m. tonight. I want you in there. Now, here's why I want you in there for a few reasons. 1, it'll be fun. 2, you get to play against me. Shut me up. Maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I am. Let's assume I'm not that good. You might win the league, and you might win $1,300. Let's assume I am good, which you should, by the way. What do you get out of it? Well, I'm going to analyze your team on this podcast. I'm going to grade your draft, and I'm going to try to help you be a better player. So is that worth it? I think it's worth it, right? Let's come in, go into the Beat Dr. Roto draft, come sign up, come join, and let's draft together, and let's see who wins our league. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I promise you that. All right? But right now, it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I'm back tomorrow with the podcast analyzing the Beat Dr. Roto draft. All right, this is Dr. Roto saying be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Full Time Fantasy. There's never been a better time to join and go full time. Visit fulltimefantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO50 for 50% off your first 2 months. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time.